So this nugget will be associated with maneuvering the space. So we have windows within any logic. They may be organized in different places on yours. A couple key principles. The first thing is each of these windows is associated with a tab. Okay. So for example, we can switch back and forth between main, displaying main, and person by clicking on these tabs. The tabs are kind of like file binder tabs, which would let you quickly go from person to main. Same thing over here with palette. Do you see this? I can go from palette to projects. Now you may have a somewhat different setup, and I'm going to show you how you can change it. Okay, projects palette. Okay, now again, a couple principles here. One thing is any one of these you can zoom in on by double clicking on it. Okay, so if you take a tab, you could double click on this tab and it will become full screen. Okay, this is very useful because it lets you see more of it at once. And then, ladies and gentlemen, by double clicking on it again, it will become small again. It will resume its size. Okay, so if you want to kind of go spend your time in the canvas for a certain amount of time to clean it up, you want to go back, just double click on these. Okay, another thing that you can do with some risk is to close a window. Okay, over here in the canvas it's no problem. If you close one of these, let's say person, now person disappears there. I can always get it back by double clicking on person. It will show it to me again. Now the situation is yet more textured, my colleagues, if you close something like the properties window or the projects or the palette window. But fear not, it's actually easy to recover yet. May I show you how? So with the properties window here, if we click on properties, I'm not encouraging you necessarily to do this, but you're welcome to follow if you'd like to. Click on properties. If you're feeling brave, click on properties, it goes away. How do I get it back? I can go up to view properties and now it will come back. Okay, this view menu has in it many latent views that are not shown at the current time, and we can summon windows back that aren't currently showing using that. For example, later we'll soon be availing ourselves of the problems window. This window tells us all sorts of useful information. It's like a good friend. It sometimes tells us difficult things, okay, about our model. And this window may not be showing by default, but we can always call it up here. Okay, so this view menu, if you don't see a window that you'd like, you can often get it by going here and clicking on it. Now, another mishap may happen to you. I'd like to show you that mishap because for beginners it can be very confusing. Ladies and gentlemen, see this properties window in here? You'll notice that each of these windows has associated with it these little icons here. One of them is maximize. We actually already saw that by double clicking on it and so on. You can maximize it. But another one is minimize. Watch this. I'm going to minimize my properties window. Where has it gone? I could go up and I could call it up again. It actually says it's showing right now. I can make it disappear. I can put it back. Okay, now it's back. But if I didn't futz with that, it would actually be out here. See this area out here? It's entrapped in an uncomfortable state. Actually, it's just kind of minimized. It's storing it out here. So what we could do is we could actually click here to restore it, and then it'll be shown again. Now, right now, we're not selecting something there. We're selecting something again, and it's showing it. So let me show that again. If you were to go here, minimize, okay, boom. It's going to show this over here, which indicates it's out there. It's just currently minimized. So you'd have to do restore, and it will show it again. Okay. So knowing how to manage these windows is useful. It will spare you grief. A couple other small things. This properties window will show you what is currently selected, regardless of where you select it. You might select it in the canvas, or you might select it over here. Whatever is selected, it will show you in the properties window. I'd like to show you this in just a minute. So let's go over to the palette, for example, and let's add something in to person, okay? We're going to go to palette here. Now, where is your palette? Oh, I have to show you one other thing, because Ron was commenting that his windows are in different places. Another thing about windows, we can drag them, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Be cautious when you do this. Interesting things can happen. Okay, I'd like you to watch as I'm doing this so you learn something about the visual feedback that's given to you as you drag. Because paying note to it, you can drag more judiciously, okay? So I know that that's not an injunction you commonly hear. So let's drag palette, and I want to move palette, say, down to properties, okay? You'll notice as I'm dragging, there's various shapes being created here. Do you see that? Yeah. Now, those shapes mean something. Those shapes indicate if I dropped the window right now, whither would it go, okay? So, in other words, I'm clicking on palette and I'm dragging. If I were to drop it now, it would actually just form the first half of the screen. Let me do this just so you could see, or say down to the bottom. It'll form the bottom half. Watch this. I'm going to drop it now, and now it's forming the bottom half. Okay. I'm going to drag it back up and put it here, and now it's going to form the top half. Or I could drag it down here. So notice it put a little thing right after this properties, and then it would go put it in here. Or I could drag it in here, it would be the lower half. Or I could drag it up here, and it could be the lower half of, excuse me, it just exchanged position. I didn't expect that. Or I could put it here. So I can drag these windows around with abandon, Ron, and that can allow me to reconfigure this space. So, for example, I might wish to have this properties window not at the bottom, but over on the right-hand side, in which case it can go like that, okay? So this allows you to do it. Now, bad things can happen to good people when dragging windows, okay? I'm not sure I can recreate it, but I've had situations where I've dragged windows and they ended up in some sort of position. I wasn't sure what happened. Oh, like this. See, this has actually now become its own standalone window, which is not necessarily what you're expecting. But you can always drag them back here. So, okay, I'm dragging it back, and then I'm going to drag it back there. So you can reconfigure the space to your liking. You can bend it to your will by carefully dragging windows, paying attention to what's caused there. And if you accidentally delete it, remember the view menu is your friend. You can go back, and you can go back to the properties window and restore it back. Okay? Are we okay with that? Okay. A few principles about managing this space. Remember, you can close these canvas windows with no problems. You can always get those back by clicking over here in the hierarchy. But the other windows, treat them with caution. Treat them with respect. Remember, if you close them, you can get them back through view. Remember, if you minimize them, often you can find them off in the kind of netherworld at the side. Okay? Are we okay? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to show you the final principle about the properties window. But to do that, we're going to make one more baby step. Okay? To wit, I would like you to go to Palette. And from Palette, you will see that Palette presents you with a somewhat daunting set of possibilities to add to your model. The good news, ladies and gentlemen, is we will find ourselves recurrently coming back to a small subset of these possibilities. It's not like you have to learn all of these or you're out of luck. It's actually a small subset that we'll be applying. Okay? In fact, maybe it's 5 to 10% of the whole thing here. Okay? We're going to come back again and again. Those are building blocks for our agent-based models. And not surprisingly, perhaps, the main place we're going to go is this agent library right now. Do you see that, agent? Okay. Can we click on agent? Okay. So it's actually, it's in this palette here.
The person.
It looks like a Da Vincian emblem, like the Measure of Man by Da Vinci. It says agent. Do you see that? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to allow us to add some elements into our model that we're going to be making heavy use of this afternoon. Okay? And the first thing I'd like to add in, ladies and gentlemen, is a parameter. Okay? And this is going to be called age. Okay? And it's going to be a double precision value. Okay? Great. Okay.
Are parameters always lowercase? How do we do that?
Okay, so I'm sorry. Thank you. So I'll do that again. Thank you for asking. From the palette, we go to parameter and we click on it and we drag over into person. Make sure person is showing, and we will call it age. And are parameters always in lowercase? Yes. Why are they in lowercase? It's because they're some particular age. They're not sort of associated with agehood, the set of all possible ages, ladies and gentlemen. Rather, they're associated with with some particular age. Okay, so a given person will have a particular age, and this will be a double precision value for now. Okay, are we okay with that? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to give people an age, and you'll notice that there's a thing that says default value. Okay, we're going to put in here something for default value. If nothing is specified when we need to specify it, we're going to say draw uniformly between 0 and 80 years old. Okay. So what this is going to do is it's going to say the rule for lending someone an age, if nothing else specifies it, and we'll see where we can specify it, draw it from a uniform distribution between 0 and 80 years old. Okay? Okay, so that's one thing we're going to put in, age. This double is important. This basically tells you what are all the set of possible values you can have. And it says any double point precision value is suitable. Later, we're going to see plenty of cases where this is an integer or a Boolean, okay, where it's a true-false value, or a count, which would be an integer. Even cases where it's a time or a rate. But for now, we're going to make this, it's just a double. It's a double precision number, okay? So it's a continuous number, which is significant. In an aggregate stratified model, we have to stratify by discrete categories, like 0 to 5, or 0 to 5, 5 through 10, 10 through 15. Whereas here we can deal with continuous quantities. Okay, so that's one thing I want to add, and that's from the agent palette. Are people caught up with that? Okay, there's one other thing we're going to add, and then we're going to proceed with our next step to get this model running. And that's just below there. There should be a presentation area. Okay? Presentation. Now, if you don't see that and you're stuck sometime, you can use this little button to add in palettes. And it's possible some of the palettes are not enabled. So if I ask for a palette and you don't see it, after double checking carefully, you can always go to this add palettes, make sure it's added in. Okay? In this case, I want to go to this presentation, and I'd like to add in, I'd like to lend this person a face upon the world. Okay? I'd like to give them a face that's okay? So I just drag this in. And I put it, ladies and gentlemen, at this crosshair, this place up in the upper left. And what that's going to mean is that its visual presentation, as denoted by this oval, is going to be located at their same place as their logical position. That's what this kind of cross point there, that origin means that if you, this is going to depict where their visual representation is. If we put it to the right of this place, don't do this, but if we had something like this, it would mean their visual appearance is some distance from their logical appearance. If we put it right here, their visual appearance will be at the same place as their logical appearance, which generally is what we want to do to avoid confusion, so we can easily identify which one we're talking about or what have you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want to draw your attention to with this orientation of the windows. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice the properties window, it's because I've selected this here, it's showing the properties of the oval, okay? Do you see that? I would like you to set the radius for the oval to be 5, ladies and gentlemen. 5, okay? So how did I do that? I clicked on the oval, and then I scrolled down, and I set the radius to be 5. Here. Are we okay with that? Notice you might have to, this is another trick with any logic, sometimes it starts with these sections being kind of collapsed. Do you see this? Sometimes you start with it like this, and you may have to expose like this. So if you see me seeing something you don't see, check what area I'm in, like position and size, and is that one collapsed? If so, you'll want to open it up using this little thing. Okay? Boom.
Do we really want it as a circle or no?
We do want it as a circle.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we may
Want a fighter jet.
we may move towards an oval in a later presentation, but for now we want probably in the GIS presentation. But for now we want a circle. Okay. Okay. Radius 5. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is good. I would like to highlight a point, though. You'll notice that oval is selected here because I've selected it here. By contrast, ladies and gentlemen, I could go over here in this, and I could select, for example, person, and then properties will show person. Yeah, I could come over here and select age. It would show age. I could go over here, click main. In short, properties will show what's ever been most selected most recently by either of these windows. You can select things in the projects window, or you can select things in a canvas. In either one, it will select it. I will note that whatever you find in this canvas, you should be able to access also in the projects. That will be useful soon. For example, here's person, here's presentation, here's the oval. So while I could find it up here in person, sometimes it's more convenient to find it, ladies and gentlemen, over here in the projects window. Okay? This is a hierarchically organized thing. Okay.
Can I just ask quick, did everybody create your circle in person? Because it'll cause problems if you
Good call. The circle should be in person, not in main.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, I'd like to get this model running with your leave. Okay, so far we have a theory of personhood, which is a very stylized and simple theory. It associates each person with an age, and by default that's drawn from a age range 0 to 80, and with a simple appearance. Okay? This is a theory of personhood, but so far there's no population of people in our model. There's no particular people. It's just a theory of personhood. Where would a population of people live in the model? It'll live in the canvas for Maine, because the population will be part of the overall structure of the model. It's not a property of any one person. It's a property of Maine. So double click on Maine, and we're going to add, ladies and gentlemen, a population of people. Okay? Are we okay with this? Okay.
Because I messed up somewhere along the line, because when I was in,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get parameters in my person.
Okay. So we would have gone to palette, and we would have gone to the red Da Vincian emblem of the measure of man. This
Okay.
this red one
Oh,
here,
a parameter.
and there's a parameter, and you can drag it in, and you'll call it age, Ron.
Right, which I did, but it's not linked to the person. Is that because?
Okay, Ellen, could you deploy?
Yeah, Alan? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go add in a population of people. Okay. Are we ready for this? Okay. So that population will live in Maine. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. When you're going to add things to the model, you need to ask what will contain this thing I'm going to add. Will it be in person? Will it be in Maine? To be explicit about it and to double check when you're going to drag it in. Am I dragging it into the right thing? One of the most common rookie mistakes. One of a notably common mistakes, even for those who have been using AnyLogic for a long time, if they're tired or if they're rushing, is they drag it into the wrong place. And it's not a big deal if you discover it quickly. You can cut it and go copy it to the other one and paste. But it can distract you and it can confuse you. It can cause weird error messages. So here we want to be in Maine, okay? And the way to call up the canvas for Maine, suppose this canvas weren't up. How would I call it up, ladies and gentlemen? Double click, indeed. I could do that. Okay. So we are going to get ready now to add this population of people.